Agradecemos la intervención de la delegada de Panamá y a continuación viene la intervención de el representante de Islas Vírgenes Británicas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fellow delegates, pleasant good morning. The Virgin Islands is grateful for the opportunity to give a truncated version of the report and context in relation to the Madrid International Plan of Action on Aging, where I intend to only cover two of the broad areas. The estimated average life expectancy in the Virgin Islands is 76.5 years, 72.9 years for males, and 80.8 for females. The population has increased by 55%, and since 2000, there has also been a change in the age profile, with over 65-year-olds making up 9.5% of the population in 2021, compared to 4.8% in 2000. In 2010, the Ministry of Health and Social Development established a steering committee on aging, comprised of mainly of older persons. The committee's mandate was to advise on policies and programs that would improve the standard of living among seniors living in the Virgin Islands. A study of the situation of older persons in the Virgin Islands was completed in 2012. Four primary concerns emerged from this research, pointing to the need to address: 1, elderly abuse prevention; 2, creating a more supportive built environment; 3, increasing access to the utilization of communication/information; and 4, creating an enabling policy, legislative, and institutional environment for healthy aging. The study also highlighted the need for increased care for older persons with chronic diseases and the need for the development of specific services for people with dementia. The Virgin Islands is currently developing its first national policy on aging, which has a particular focus on healthy and active aging. There is no particular law that comprehensively addresses the rights and protections of older persons in the Virgin Islands. However, legal protection is provided to the elderly population within the context of other laws governing the territory. These include, but are not limited to, the Virgin Islands Constitution Order of 2007, Criminal Code, Labor Code 2010, Social Security Ordinance, and National Health Insurance Regulations 2014, to name a few. Action items related to this matter: finalizing and implementing a national policy on aging and enact specific legislations to address the rights and protections of seniors. A committee on aging was established in 2010, but is not currently active. One of the recommendations contained in the BVI's draft national policy on aging is for government to establish a National Advisory Council Commission on Aging, inclusive of representatives from civil society and the private sector, to represent the interests of the older persons and facilitate their participation in decision-making. The commission would support the implementation of the National Policy on Aging and report to the National Council on Human and Social Development. Action item: to formally establish a National Advisory Commission on Aging. Public pension systems, adequacy, and sustainability. The existing pension systems in the BVI are as follows. The Social Security Board age benefit is a contributory scheme requiring a minimum of 500 contributions to obtain monthly pensions payments once attaining the age of 65. The SSB age grant is a one-off payment for persons who have attained the age of 65 and have made at least 50 but less than 500 contributions. It is accessible to all persons who have worked in the territory for the defined periods, including workers in the informal sector who are encouraged to make voluntary contributions. Occupational pensions are provided by employers, including the government of the Virgin Islands, which is the largest employer in the territory. The government has a non-contributory pension scheme that requires public employees to be vested for a minimum of 25 years to benefit. An exception is made for early retirement on medical grounds. A lump sum payment called a compensation gratuity is paid to employees who has been employed with the government for at least 10 years and retire at the age of 65 or grounds of ill health. The Labor Code 2010 stipulates that an employer shall make provisions for retirement benefits to be paid to his or her permanent employees by means of a pension scheme, an annuity, provident fund, or other form of retirement scheme which will be contributory. In absence of such provisions, a pension calculation is provided for persons who have been employed with that employer for at least 10 years. Two identified gaps are the Social Security age benefit may not be adequate to meet the basic living expenses, particularly affecting low-income earners or persons who do not have access to occupational pensions. The government's pension system is unfunded and is an unfunded liability. Action items: consider introduction of a non-contributory age benefit for older seniors that do not have alternative means of support to meet their basic needs as part of an ongoing social protection system reform. Reform government's pension system to ensure its financial sustainability. Work and aging labor force. Labor Code 2010 discrimination is a number of areas, discriminates in a number of areas, including age. The Retirement Age Act of 2016 prohibits forced retirement up to the age of 65, which with exceptions for ill health. This legislation raised retirement age in the public sector from 60 to 65, thereby bridging a 5-year gap between government's retirement and the qualifications for Social Security age pension. While persons are allowed to work beyond the age of 65, they are not guaranteed employment with any particular employer. Given the labor shortages in the territory, citizens are encouraged to work in the various sectors of the economy for as long as they remain productive. Identify gaps. Low-income earners without adequate family social supports who are forced to continue to work well into old age in order to meet their daily needs. Action items: develop programs to support the employment of older adults, including self-employment. And I'll finish up on this last section. As with so many other jurisdictions, the Virgin Islands is experiencing increasing risk factors for non-communicable diseases amongst its population. Rising rates of obesity associated with lack of physical activity, unhealthy eating, and risky levels of alcohol use are all contributing to this development. In 2009, the Ministry of Health and Social Development, in collaboration with the BVI Social Security Board, conducted its first WHO PAHO STEPS Risk Factors Survey to provide greater information on the current health habits of residents in the BVI.
De salud. En una muestra de 1.105 adultos que participaron en la encuesta, los resultados mostraron que 61% de los adultos no participaban en actividad física. Las mujeres eran 82% que no hacían actividad física, solo 42% de mujeres hacían alguna actividad y 92% no comían las verduras y vegetales y proteínas. El 75% de los adultos tienen sobrepeso y algunos con tasas de obesidad como 44%. También el uso del tabaco en el territorio es bajo, especialmente es los hombres. 50% de los hombres de 25 a 64 toman alcohol y 27% tienen episodios duros de bebidas alcohólicas. Esto se vincula no solo al potencial de enfermedades no transmisibles, sino también a violencia, que son otros temas de preocupación en el territorio. Obviamente, todos los factores de riesgos y indicadores llevan al potencial de mayores incidencias de enfermedades no transmisibles en población adulta a medida que envejecen. El Ministerio de Desarrollo Social dicen que estas enfermedades son una prioridad nacional, enfermedades no transmisibles. Y así hay un plan de acción para guiar el trabajo en prevención de enfermedades en situaciones de cáncer, enfermedad cardíaca, diabetes, hipertensión. Los lineamientos para prevenir esto son promoción de la salud, comunicación, intervenciones, por ejemplo, en la salud escolar, programas comunitarios, alianzas, mejoramiento de ambiente, programas, reglamentos, normativas, alianzas, y me detengo acá y quiero agradecer por haber presentado mi versión truncada del informe.
Bueno, agradecemos la intervención del delegado